I want to talk to you about DOGE. President Trump has officially sent the first $9 billion DOGE rescissions package to Congress. So this is to gut funding for USAID, PBS, NPR, US Institute for Peace and other foreign aid programs. But $9 billion, it's no wonder that Elon Musk is pretty disappointed at the moment. It's not a lot of money in the grand scheme of things.
No, look, it's absolutely not. I mean, the US revenue every year is something like 7 trillion $5 trillion. Spending is 7 trillion, revenue is 5 trillion. There's an enormous deficit of roughly $2 trillion every single year. And so $9 billion in the US context is absolutely nothing. And so I sympathise with Elon Musk. He spent months, of his time. He sacrificed a lot financially himself to help the US government make savings. And now there's this bill before Congress, which he said is pathetic, essentially, which just increases the debt further. And so there's this token other bill you've pointed out, $9 billion. That's a bit of a joke, really. So, I think we're seeing the beginnings of the fraying of the Trump-Musk relationship, I think, for sure.
Interesting to watch this space. I agree with you that it is disappointing when they were identifying so much waste and then we're down to $9 billion. But finally, Adam, I want to speak to you about what is happening here in Australia. And that is federal spending on climate and net zero policy has surged to $9 billion a year. So a decade ago, it was $600 million. Now it's $9 billion, and who knows what that will get to. But what value are we getting for this money?
Well, look, just firstly, $9 billion in the Australian context is a lot of money.
Yes, it is.
It basically would be, it would be the 20th largest program of the federal government. So I looked at federal spending on climate change and net zero, and I was just shocked that over 10 years, it's increased 15-fold and about 400% just in the last few years since Labor was elected. So this is serious money. And, you ask about value. Well, there isn't much because emissions are actually going up. They've barely fallen. And of course, power prices are going up, as you know. So we've got power prices going up and the government is asking taxpayers for $9 billion a year on, renewable this, renewable that. It's a disaster, really. It's a fiscal disaster. And so when the government says, for instance, we can't afford to spend more on defence, well, just remember that they're spending $9 billion a year on all sorts of boondoggles for so-called climate change. So, it's a huge waste.
Adam Creighton, Chief Economist at the Institute of Public Affairs, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks very much.